Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are hitting the road. We're taking a virtual road trip to explore the massive, almost cult-like footprint of Southern fast food. And along the way, we're going to totally dissect the highly unconventional business model of its reigning king. It is a wild story. We're talking fierce loyalty, massive shifts in what we eat, and a business paradox that literally defies almost every traditional rule of modern retail.
So let's kick things off with a pretty simple question. What exactly makes Southern fast food such a cult phenomenon? I mean, why do these hyperlocal regional chains inspire such fierce, unwavering loyalty? The kind of loyalty where people will literally argue for hours defending their favorite spot, completely ignoring the global mega brands on every other corner. Well, it basically boils down to a deep sense of regional identity, hyper-specific menus, and just a totally different approach to fast food culture.
If you've ever cruised through the American South, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You are just barraged by a landscape of fiercely defended homegrown gems. And we're not talking about your run-of-the-mill sad burgers and fries here. No way. We're talking Whataburger's massive, oversized patties served up on thick Texas toast right under those iconic A-frame roofs. We've got Bojangles pumping out cayenne-kissed fried chicken and scratch-made biscuits. Or how about Cookout? They've got these legendary, highly customizable backyard barbecue trays and, get this, over 40 different milkshake flavors. And we definitely can't forget Krystal's signature square steamed sliders, or Zaxby's premium chicken fingers dunked in their famous secret sauce. These aren't just places to grab a quick bite. They are absolute regional institutions.
And honestly, nothing illustrates this regional obsession better than Lemon Pepper Wet. Created at Atlanta's American Deli back in 1989, this isn't just a menu item. It is a legendary cultural touchstone that completely defines the local palate. They take fresh, never frozen wings and douse them in this incredible signature wet lemon pepper sauce. It's exactly this kind of extreme specialization and deep connection to local flavor that builds such die-hard, unbreakable fan bases.
Section 1. Chicken dethrones beef, the great meat shift.
Okay, so let's zoom out a bit from our regional road trip and look at a massive national dietary trend that basically reshaped the entire fast food industry. The data showing the dethroning of beef is actually super dramatic. Chicken consumption completely soars past both beef and pork right around the 2010s. And this wasn't an accident. It was driven by consumer perceptions of chicken as a healthier option, combined with the incredibly cheap costs of industrial farming. So practically overnight, chicken became the undisputed, super efficient protein of choice for the American consumer. And this massive dietary shift, it fueled what we all know today as the modern chicken wars. The whole battleground shifted. The industry moved away from those messy, traditional bone-in buckets to the perfectly portable, wildly popular, and incredibly profitable chicken sandwich format. Literally just moving the protein between two buns changed the entire game. It made it the absolute perfect vehicle for fast-paced, modern consumption and completely redefined how we eat on the go.
Section 2. The Chick-fil-A Paradox, breaking all the rules to win. Now, the crucial takeaway in this whole shift is this absolutely staggering number, $4,090,900. That is the annual sales generated by just an average Chick-fil-A restaurant. Just think about that for a second. To put it into perspective, they are completely crushing the per-unit sales of traditional giants like McDonald's, Starbucks, and Subway. They are utterly dominating the space. And the craziest part, they're doing it while breaking almost every conventional rule in the modern retail playbook. We call it a paradox because these massive revenues are happening despite some really severe self-imposed limitations. Honestly, these are limitations that would normally destroy a retail business. Think about it. They are closed 14% of the time, every single Sunday. That sacrifices an estimated $1.2 billion in potential annual sales. Incredible, right? Plus, they have a highly restricted chicken-focused day menu. They absolutely refuse to go public, so they are completely cutting themselves off from massive IPO capital. And they remain geographically limited, focusing almost entirely on North America. It completely defies traditional business logic, but somehow it works perfectly. Section 3. An unconventional business blueprint, the $10,000 franchise. When you start comparing franchising models across the industry, the contrast is just stark. Traditional chains demand massive startup fees. They allow passive investors to just sit back, own the equity, and hire a manager to run the day-to-day. In that disconnected approach, it leads to an industry average 35% turnover rate.
But Chick-fil-A flips this entirely on its head. They charge an incredibly low $10,000 franchise fee, but they absolutely forbid passive investment. They require extreme hands-on management. The operator gets no equity in the business itself. But this rigorous system attracts such highly dedicated owner-operators that they see an industry-defying 5% turnover rate. Once these highly vetted operators are actually in place, they operate under this fascinating proprietary philosophy called freedom within structure. What that means is it gives franchise operators incredible creative autonomy when it comes to local marketing and problem solving. So they might completely redesign their drive-thrus to handle massive volume or host really unique community events. And they can do all that just as long as these strict top-down operational standards are met. It's a brilliant balance, honestly. It keeps the core product perfectly consistent across the board, but it still lets local leaders shine. And you know, this high level of operator engagement trickles directly down to the staff on the floor. They are deeply trained in what the company calls second-mile service. It's actually based on a biblical principle of going beyond what is required or expected. Employees are literally trained in the art of reading guests. Their goal is to create hospitable relationships rather than just ringing up simple, cold transactions. It's the exact reason why you always hear that trademark "my pleasure" after you say thank you. They aren't just selling chicken, they are selling a highly elevated, personal experience.
Section 4. Culture, Faith, and Friction. Navigating Public Polarization.
Now, to understand the full picture of this brand, we do have to objectively examine their 2012 public relations crisis, because the exact same explicitly faith-based corporate culture that drives their unique service and prompts those Sunday closures, it also sparked a massive cultural flashpoint. Executive commentary on same-sex marriage led to immediate, highly organized boycotts by progressive groups in certain cities, and simultaneously, it sparked massive support rallies from conservative patrons in other areas. It was just intense political polarization centered right on a fast food chain. So, how did the corporate entity actually navigate this extreme turbulence? Well, they executed a very deliberate three-step pivot. First, executives entirely stopped commenting on social issues, essentially pulling the brand out of the political spotlight. Second, they publicly reaffirmed a commitment to equal opportunity and creating a welcoming environment for all guests. And third, they quietly restructured their charitable funding, shifting their donations away from controversial organizations and focusing instead on education and youth programs. And despite all that deep cultural polarization, the data tells a really fascinating story. The Composite Loyalty Index shows their consumer loyalty remained practically bulletproof. Even going through the boycotts and all that intense friction, they still topped the entire chicken quick service industry at an impressive 79%. It seems the elite product quality and that operational consistency actually shielded the brand from long-term financial damage. It really just goes to show how deeply ingrained that customer loyalty truly is. What's cool is that this loyalty extends internally too. Thanks to predictable, flexible scheduling and the absolute guarantee of having Sundays off to rest, employee satisfaction scores sit at a solid 4.0. That completely outpaces competitors like Subway at 3.6 and the overall industry average of 3.4. So, why does this actually matter to you? Well, in a sector that is practically notorious for high turnover and rapid burnout, treating employees with a structured but supportive framework translates directly into that elite, enthusiastic customer service you experience in the drive-thru. It's simple. Happy employees make for happy customers. Which leaves us with a really fascinating question to close out this explainer. As the global chicken wars rage on and mega brands keep fighting for absolute dominance, will this unconventional Southern playbook eventually conquer the world? Or is it going to remain a uniquely American phenomenon? I mean, considering their brief, highly contested, and ultimately closed pilot location in England, I'll leave you to ponder this. Can a rigid, highly localized model ever truly translate globally? Or is its magic strictly tied to the culture of the American South? Thanks so much for exploring this with me today. Keep asking the big questions.